and welcome to this week's GG Weekend Watch, where we shall be looking ahead to the final day of glorious Goodwood. Hopefully you've had a good punting week yourselves. It's been very hit and miss from what I can gather from people anyway. As well as glorious Goodwood this week, we shall also be heading over to Newmarket for a couple of races to chuck into the mix as well. So plenty to look forward to, and I shall be doing so with our regular team of Andrew Mount and Daryl Carter, of course. So we shall kick start at Goodwood with their opening contest. This is a maiden for the 2-year-olds over 7 furlongs at 105. Not much to go on here, Andrew. So how would you solve this opener?
Yeah, I quite like this race. There are certain yards who tend to target this race every year, including Charlie and Mark Johnson, Richard Hannon, Andrew Balding. And again, even though there's only 9 runners, probably favour those drawn low. There's 2 horses that stand out. Classic for the Hannon yard, who was well touted ahead of his debut at Newbury. He ran green, missed a beat at the start, stayed on, only got beat a length and a bit. It did best of those to come from off the pace. It was typical Newbury straight track stuff. You had to be on the front end. Big eye catcher that day. And Loyal Touch, who was favourite for his debut at Salisbury, despite being poorly drawn out wide. He was very green that day, did really well to finish a close-up third. I thought it was between the pair of them. Classic is 6-4, Loyal Touch 5-1. At the prices, I'll have to be with Loyal Touch over Classic.
Yeah, like you say, letting price dictate them between those two once raced horses, then in here and going for the bigger price one of Loyal Touch at 5-1 for Andrew. Daryl, how do you play this race?
Yeah, I saw it very similar. In all honesty, I liked Classic's run at Newbury. It was a good time figure. It was the best of the 3 7-furlong races on the card, actually. He didn't win, obviously, but he was only narrowly beaten 1.5 lengths. And that race tends to be quite a useful race every single year. I think Reach for the Moon won it last year, and Bayside Boy won the Division 2 of it. I think that's the right way around. But it's typically a good pointer for the rest of the season. Now, he ran really well that day. He was green, obviously, and his best work was at the finish. He was highly likely to improve for that run, but he does have a different test to contend with today. Goodwood is a unique track, as we know, completely different to Newbury. So he has got a little bit of a different test to try and overcome, and 6-4 is probably short enough for him. The form looks okay. He was conceding experience to the 3 in front of him that day as well. So I think he could be pretty useful. I would just be wary of taking 6-4 on such a different track. At Goodwood, we know we can get hard luck stories. We know some horses don't handle the bend or the downhill run, and I wouldn't be wanting to take short price bet him, but I do like him, and I do think he could be pretty useful going forward. So he would be the selection, albeit a tentative one at the prices.
Yeah, like you say, sort of tentative one, but Classic then with the form to go to war with for the rest of the season. So Daryl siding with him in the opener. Up next, we have a very thin on the ground renewal of the Stewards Sprint Cup, the consolation race for the Stewards Cup, which is for the 3-year-olds and over 6 furlongs, so at 140. But I guess it makes sense though, because many of those who are balloted out of the Stewards Cup itself would rather take in the sprint final at Windsor on Monday. So this race worth 50 grand, that's worth 70. Kind of makes sense then. Bad race planning yet again in this country, that we kind of have a thin on the ground renewal of the consolation race. But I'm going to kickstart us here because we spoke about this race beforehand briefly, so I want to make sure I get in here first. I think it's an absolute sure thing. Lethal Levi here to bring up the hat trick. He'll likely go forwards and make all, as we know he tends to do, and that has been seen to good effect in this race in recent years. He's drawn well in 3 to stay out of trouble, to do exactly that as well. He clearly has plenty in hand. He's able to run off of the same mark as his penultimate win, carries a double penalty here, sees him running off of a fair mark still, as he's officially rated 100 now, which would have easily got him into the Stewards Cup itself. So I think he's just better than these, a very progressive 3-year-old. So it's Lethal Levi for me, Daryl, but who do you like?
Yeah, I would agree. I tried to find something to take him on with, but there's a lot in his favour, and a lot of these horses are actually running over their wrong trip. They're stepping up to 6 furlongs when they're really 5-furlong horses, and there wasn't something that was going to blast down that stands rail and sort of get lucky with a draw. I thought he was the most likely winner. Like you say, he's £9 winning effectively. He's dropping basically from a 0 to 105 that he won last time comfortably, and this is basically a 0 to 90.
Yeah.
So it is quite a bit of a drop in grade, albeit it's still a Class 2 race. the quick turnaround, 7 days, shouldn't really be an issue for him. This is going to be his third run this month, but he just looks bomb-proof, really, doesn't he?
Hey.
Shouldn't he be odds on, do you think?
I
Yes.
think he should probably be a shade of evens at least.
It's 7-4 across the board, pretty much.
Yeah.
Every firm who priced up 7-4. Actually, 15-8. Oh no, I think that's on the exchanges. 5-4 Willie Mill. I can see him going off 6-4 on or something like that.
I know. Like I say, I've just looked at the revised prices there now as everything started filtering through. Just give me a second, lads. I'll let you two talk amongst yourselves just while I click the mouse here.
As you've obviously guessed, I'm making it 3 votes if indeed Daryl's going for this one as well. And at first I thought, I wonder was Lethal Levi flattered when beating 18 rivals in that Heritage Handicap over 6 furlongs on the July course, because he was down the centre of the track, as were the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The going stick said the July Festival going was better down the middle. You didn't have a prayer if you were drawn very high on the far side in that race. But then he won so easily, and he did so from the front against all those rivals. And the next time out, back over the same course and distance, for a breath, he thought, they're coming to him. He was just laughing at him, and he just let out a little bit of rain. And he's gone away to win by 2 lengths. It could have been 12. So it was incredibly impressive. I thought immediately after that, this is a group horse masquerading as a handicapper. I want to be on him next time, and that next time is here. And I think 7-4 is a good price. I don't normally play at those sort of odds, but if your 7-4 should be evens or even shorter, then you've got to.
And he's actually clipped the fastest in my book anyway, the fastest time figures in the entire field. So there's not too many ways you can really try and get him beat. In all honesty, I don't think. And I agree with Andrew. I think that 7-4 will go, but will go before race day.
Yeah, I see 9-4. Oh, not for long. I can tell you right now. Bomb-proof. All of the words that I'm liking to hear then about Lethal Levi. So both in agreement. We're all going for the hat trick.
Can I give you the forecast? Or the total
please,
exact?
please.
The Lamplighter, bit of a course expert, trained by George Baker, does have a propensity to finish second, like a lot of the odds horses, like the Lamb Queeners of the world, seem to sort of travel well and then find one too good. But I thought, given that the Lamplighter likes this track, given that he often finishes second, and given that he's sort of between 12 and 16 to 1, if you could take a price on the forecast now, 7-4 to beat 16s, I think you're going to find you're looking at evens at 8 to 1 or something like that on the day. So if you're looking for a big price one, if you're looking to build a tote trifecta or exacta, then certainly stick the Lamplighter in for second place behind the winner, behind the Jolly.
Oh, I like that as well. Way of boosting it, like I say, between 14 and 16 to 1 then for the Lamplighter. And a way to boost it, should you not be getting on Lethal Levi in time and his price then shortens. Daryl, did you have anything else to throw into that race, or are you just happy to stick with me with Lethal Levi?
No, I'm happy to follow you.
Wonderful. It's music to my ears. Right. I'm done for the day now. I'm just maybe I'll let it between the pair of you two. I'm such a certainty. We now switch up meetings. I better stick around for this, really, as we head to Newmarket to the July course, where we have a fillies nursery handicap for the 2-year-old fillies over 6 furlongs at 155. Understandably so. Still at this time of year, looks a very open nursery, Andrew. So who do you side with?
Sorry, I was just about to take a price on that forecast. Yeah, is this the fillies nursery? Is it the fillies nursery at Newmarket?
Yeah, the 155.
Yeah, I went down the rabbit hole with this one because I didn't notice that it's nurseries. Traditionally, people say, back the top weighted nurseries, and high weighted horses do well. But in this race, it's quite the opposite. Maybe it's because it's fillies, and there are sort of certain things that stood out. And one of them was that horses who carried 9 stone or more have got an absolute shocking record in this race. And also horses who are ridden by claiming jockeys don't do well. So again, you're looking for a horse who's sort of down the weights. And given what we've got, 8 runners, I think those at the head of the betting seem to be at the head of the weights as well, with 5 horses carrying 9 stone 1 or more. Those are all the shorties, and we're left with 3 who are carrying the required weight. Queen of Uplands, Transfer, Affection, and Comedian Leader. I'm not going to try and pick between them. I'm just going to back the 3, do combination forecast and tricast. They're sort of 8 to 1, 9 to 1, 20 to 1. So that'll do for me. Just ignore the top weights.
Oh, cool. Very straightforward then, and keeping it simple for this nursery for Andrew then, and an interesting way of playing this race. Daryl, anything similar for you?
No, completely opposite, really. It was a bit disheartening. No, I thought this was a poor race, to be honest. I thought
Mm.
this was I found it really difficult to try and nail down any worthwhile form outside of Fox Degree. And I think he's by far the most likely winner. I like the book. I like the book on the Frankie Dettori. I don't normally, but I do for this horse. He travels really kindly, and he's got a change of legs, and he's got one change of gear, and it kicks away. He's stepping out to 6 furlongs. So I don't think that'd be an issue at all for him. The time was quite good at Fosslas last time when he won quite comfortably. The 2 horses in behind him are not bad at all. New Hope Bullets come out and won next time out, and Kasib, I think, was behind. Was not beaten too far behind Little Big Bear in the Windsor Castle. So there is some substance to his form, and I think he's going to improve stepping up in trip back up to 6 furlongs. He didn't look entirely at home at Pontefract, which would be the slight worry coming here to the undulations of Newmarket, but I think he's quite a nice horse. I think he's progressing at a rate of knots, and for me, he's clocked the fastest time in the field. So, albeit over 5 furlongs, I think he'll be tough to beat. I do. I think he'd go off at 9-4 of the day, and I think he'd be tough to beat. I think Immortal Beauty would follow him home as well. So I thought the market had it pretty spot on. But I do actually like Fox Degree. I'm probably going to back him myself on Saturday.
Cool. So Fox Degree from Immortal Beauty. That order. Market's probably got it right 3-1 then, with Fox Degree as well at the head of the market, but probably with the strongest form in Daryl's mind there. We head back to Goodwood next for the summer handicap at 210 for the 3 odds and over a mile 6. A very open contest again, as you would expect. I like doing this starting with Sam Cook, who I still think basically a lot of, because he did me a real turn then back in August of last year when winning at York at a nice price. But so I do kind of have a little bit of bias to him in general. But I think he should have the perfect setup in this race, where this race tends to go to horses ridden with restraint on the back of 3 runs that season. And he ran well again last time out at Newmarket in that Heritage handicap, where a whole host of these runners that reoppose ran in that, including Sophie Stevens, who won the race. Sam Cook probably came from further back than ideal, so off of a £1 higher mark, conditions likely to suit. Sam Cook, I think, can reverse that form. But there's another one from that race that I also like in here as well, and at a slightly bigger price, but I'm willing to give him the chance in Trawler Man, because I feel that this horse just has more to offer. He too ran in that race at Newmarket. He was ridden even further back than Sam Cook, though hampered before he was then eased. I don't think that finishing position was a true reflection of his run. So off of a £1 lower mark, I think he should be far closer to these reopposing rivals. So there's 2 for me there, Daryl. You're allowed 2 of your own if you like.
No, I've only got one.
Okay.
It does fit in with your trends though, which I quite like. Which is Semhan.
Oh yeah, I just omitted him.
I thought he was similar angle to you, really. I thought he was much better than his finishing position suggests last time at Ascot. He was very, very free in the Duke of Edinburgh. He was held up right at the rear of the field, and I know they went a good gallop, but he does want a good gallop to aim at, and he was so free that you just expected him to empty out, and he didn't. And he was coming with a run, and he got blocked and stopped, and then he was staying on quite strongly at the finish. And I just thought that the drop back to a mile and a half was actually an inconvenience to him. I've always thought of him as a real out and out stayer. He won at Newmarket at the time before, really quite impressively, beating Revolver and Soapy Stevens and Valley Forge. I think there's more to come from him. I think he's on a fair mark, and yeah, I think he's been underestimated by the market on the basis of that Ascot run, when I think he deserves a good upgrade for the way the race panned out for him. So I'm going to give him another chance, because I think he's worthy of a rating of 100. He's highly progressive. He's got conditions to suit. And yeah, I think he'd go very well. And he's bolted up here before, hasn't he? So yeah, Semhan will do for me.
Yeah, 8-1 then Semhan, horse that just missed my cutoff. Not that that means anything to anyone, but who just missed my cutoff with when I narrowed it down to the 2 rather than the 3. But give him a huge chance though as well. Andrew, in any sort of agreement with any of these form lines?
Well, it'd be a wonderful world for you if Sam Cook does win, but I'm going to take him on. This has been a very good race for Mark Johnson, as well as Charlie and Mark, I should say, nowadays. 7 winners from 35 runners in the past 20 years, profit of £38.50 to a £1 level stake. And you look more recently, They've won it numerous times, as well as having the sort of second and third on a lot of occasions. So they've got 3 runners. I wasn't keen on Golden Flame. I convinced he's best left-handed. The Max We Can is a small field merchant, and the First Time Visor's the Warrior. That's a very negative angle for Mark Johnson runners, first time headgear. So I was looking at Soapy Stevens. He's on a hat trick. I was really impressed by his attitude when he won at Newmarket last time in a Heritage Handicap, big field. He kept on repelling the challenges there, and really stuck his head out where it mattered. So I thought he was best of the Mark Johnson trio. I've bet him. I think he's around about 7 to 1 now. And the other one I thought would go well is the Chris Wall runner, Backdoor, who's been incredibly consistent since gelded. 8 runs, 4 wins, 3 seconds, and a 6th place, with excuses for that defeat. So I thought Soapy Stevens over Backdoor would do for me.
Oh, cool. Soapy Stevens, ridden by that man, Franny Norton, as well, Andrew. So delighted.
Yes, yeah, my
Let's hope he goes off too fast.
Well, I've taken over Paul Keeley's tipping column in the weekender this week, and I'll put Soapy Stevens up as one of my bets, and sort of suggested that it shouldn't be Franny Norton, it should be Sir Francis Norton. And the night was long overdue, but yeah, after his riding so far this week, I think I might need to eat those words. Let's hope he can redeem himself in my eyes here.
You need to retract his knighthood there and then. Yeah, so this is the only way that Franny Norton's going to get Andrew back on side if he goes and wins head on Soapy Stevens, brings up the hat trick, but also a good shout for Backdoor as well than for the Chris Wall Yard. We're back to Newmarket for the 225, which is the listed Chalice Stakes for 3-year-olds and over a mile. 4, tricky enough a race to get a handle on, I thought, Andrew, but your take on the race, please.
Yeah, very much in agreement that it's tricky. There's a couple of angles. I was looking at some of the older horses here. We've talked, it's something I think you first brought to my attention, Kate, was that the 3-year-old fillies this year might not be an earth-shatteringly brilliant bunch. Right. It'll be fascinating to see how Nashwa gets on shortly after we record this video. But so I was looking at some of the older ones. Technique was interesting in the first-time blinkers for the Freddie and Martin Mead Yard. If you backed all their runners in first-time blinkers, 7 winners from 27 runners, profit of £23 to a £1 level stake. Although I'm not 100% convinced what her best trip is at the moment. I don't think connections are either. And so the other one was Rose of Kildare for the Johnson Yard. This one's the early movers, of 3 to 1 into 2 to 1 now. Likely to be on the front end, and ran a good race over course and distance last time out. So yeah, I'll go Rose of Kildare over the Mead horse. Technique, maybe do the exact to those 2 as well.
Cool, a nice exactor as well. Rose Kildare 2 to 1, then Top Price and Technique 7 to 1 as well. But yeah, that would be nice. But just coming out on the side of Rose of Kildare, then for Andrew, Daryl, your take on this race, please.
Yeah, I'm with Rose of Kildare as well. Undoubtedly, I think this is a poor race. In all honesty, I understand what Andrew's saying about the 3-year-olds. I do think there's a couple of exceptions. I think Seasick Road is one of the exceptions. I think Eternal Pearl was probably the other exception as well. And Eternal Pearl ran Rose of Kildare down here at Newmarket last time out. I just think her form is by far clear of anything in this race. I mean, she was only beaten 7 lengths in the Juddmonte in 2020. I know she had a bit of time off, but my God, like she was highly progressive herself, and she looks to have retained most of her ability. She's going to be on the front end here. There's not going to be too much pace pressure for her. And I don't think there's anything good enough. I don't think there's an Eternal Pearl in here that's going to be able to run her down. So providing Kieran Fallon, the shamed Kieran Fallon, we should say,
the potty mouth.
fancy getting a ban for telling your mate to fuck off. Christ.
I know.
What's going on?
None of us would work a day again in our lives.
Yeah, that's true. But you've got to have standards.
But I think she's the best horse in the race. Do you know what? I'm not a massive fan of the Mark Johnson Yard. They're very good at what they do, but I just don't like the way they continuously run their horses into the ground. Like the other day, yesterday, there's a horse running that's having its 9th start in a month, and I just think you can lose quality when you do that with horses, and I don't think you can always get the best out of them. I mean, I'm not a trainer, so I probably shouldn't be saying that. People to tell me, but I like the way that they've given this horse a little bit of time. So she had 511 days off. She didn't run too well at Lingfield in a listed contest. Then they gave her 161 days off. Then there might have been an issue, but they did give her that time, and she's then run well again. And then I know this is 14 days later, but at least she's had that time to get over that long absence. And I think she's definitely the one to beat here. I think she ought to be shorter than 2-1. I'm hoping I can get 9-4, but I don't think that's going to be the case. But I think she'll take a world of beating in this.
I think we found the double there, haven't we? Lethal Levi and the Johnson horse.
Lethal Levi, Rosie Kildare.
Well, I think the 2-1's under pressure, Daryl. It will be when I press the button in about 40 seconds as well. So,
well, hold off for a minute then.
We're all very distracted at the minute.
I've just been round the shops.
We're actually recording a podcast because all of us are here tapping away, taking these prices. So apologies by the time this goes out if any of these prices have collapsed. We are very selfish people on that basis.
Absolutely, we've got to get our own. Forget the rest.
Exactly. We've got to make it pay somehow. So we'll move back to Goodwood then, where we have the Group 2 Lily Langtree Stakes for 3-year-olds and over a mile 6 at 2:45, where Sila Rosa heads the betting. But Daryl, your assessment of this Group 2, please.
Yeah, I didn't like this. I liked this race when Princess Zoe was in here at 5-1. I mean, God, I thought they were going to run her, and I thought if that's 5-1, Christ, I'd smash that up. But there's nothing in it for me. I don't like Sila Rosa at 13-8. Not that I don't like her. I just don't like the price. I just don't like the race at all. I don't like these older Group 2 fillies really, and I'm not a massive fan of Emily Dickinson. I just don't like her stride. She's just got too short of a sharp stride. I could be completely underestimating her, but I think if she's trained by anybody else, she's not a 5-2 shot in there. I like flirted with backing Viola again. She's frustrating the hell out of me because she gave so much weight to Sila Rosa last year. I know that horse has improved since, but she's clearly improving herself. She was a real eye catcher at Haydock in the Pinnacle Stakes, and then she just bombed out at Newmarket. But it might be the case that she just doesn't run well second time out. So if you go back to last year, she was beaten 8. She got 3/4 of a length with Sila Rosa on her seasonal return. Then she was beaten 8 lengths by her, and then she went out and won really impressively at Southwell. I know it was Southwell. But the year before, she bombed out at Kempton and then beat Sila Rosa at Doncaster. And then the year before that, she finished 3rd at York and then went within a head of winning over a horse called September Power at Lingfield. So it just might be the fact that she just bounces a little bit off the back of a break and then she runs well again next time out. I could just see this track suiting her a lot better than Newmarket did. That was her first time at Newmarket. And she obviously just wasn't herself. She didn't have that finishing speed that she showed a few times, and this track will allow her to sort of sit in behind and be pulled out and have a burst of speed. So she could be the one. The more I talk about her, the more I like her for it at 14-1, because I just don't think there's that much between her and Sila Rosa. I just think circumstances have shown her to be not in the best light in terms of Viola. So I'll probably back her at 14. But don't take a lot to convince me to back something. 14-1, that do. Viola.
He goes in again with Viola. 14-1 though. She is worth chancing going in again in this sort of a muddle of a bit of a Group 2 really. So I can understand that angle completely, and hopefully she serves you well this time around, Daryl. Andrew, how do you play this Group 2?
Yeah, very similar to Daryl. I could play my get out of jail free card here if I was allowed one. I did the mini Racing Post jury for Saturday, and not like a Racing Post jury for short people, but it's just the a mini newspaper they're giving away to race goers at the track. And again, I was asked for a banker on the day, and there's only one short price horse, pretty much sort of, two short price horses all day, Lethal Levi and this one. And I was looking at this thing, 13-8. I couldn't back this at 13-8 if I found a tenner in the street. She might go and well go and win, but not for me. I mean, I didn't like the race full stop. Maybe Forbearance. I think she's been a little bit underwhelming this year, but I was a big fan of her last year, and maybe she can turn it around under Holly Doyle and run a race around about 16 to 1. But yeah, it's not a race I'm a fan of, so leave me out. Leave
Okay.
me out.
If you had to have a get out of jail free card, here it is then. But at least you have given us a token selection nonetheless with forbearance around 16 to 1. So sort of a get out of jail free card / we will definitely be holding to you to forbearance for that race. The Stewards Cup is up next. Finally, another big field sprint handicap solved now. And of course, after we had the consolation race for the Stewards Cup early, we have the main event then itself now. This heritage handicap for 3-year-olds and over 6 furlongs at 320. Wide open, Andrew. Take it away.
Well, you know what I'm going to go for, and his name is Mr. Wagyu. And,
Here we go. Here he is.
Raced on the 28th of July, and not on the sort of 1st, 2nd, or 3rd of August as it can be at times, because he's had 29 runs in June and July. He's won 15 of them. He's made over 70 quid backing him blind. He's been to Goodwood once before, bolted up in the consolation race last year. He's actually better than ever at the age of 7. He's recorded a career best Racing Post rating when winning in Ireland last time out, and big field at the Curragh, showing his usual willing attitude at the business end. You know, he's had 3 runs in the summer spell this year. That Epsom Derby Day win, the Curragh win last time out, and a placed effort in the Woking, finishing 4th at 28 to 1. So I can't desert him. He's 12 to 1, back him each way. Some firms are going 27 places, I think. So we're crediting. Of the rest, I mean, I've not been. His draw is installed 20. When the going stick says there's basically little in it. If anything, it's quicker down the middle or far side, but they're probably all going to sort of, come more towards the near side anyway, centre near side, I think. So I wouldn't be worried about the draw. And when the dealing's done is the other one. He was a horse I raved about last year. Thought he was a group horse in the making. Whether he stays 6 or not, I don't know. I mean, I did say that about Just Another Bottle in this race a few years ago when he nearly won it from the front. Now, when the dealing's done, the last time he ran beyond 5, he didn't seem to stay. But when he was 5th in the Portland handicap, beating 2 lengths, but that was because there was an incredibly strong headwind that day, and he just hit the front too soon. The 4 that beat him all came from off the pace. So on a downhill, easier 6 furlongs, when the dealing's done, might get away with it. So he'd be the main danger to Mr. Wagyu. I'll be backing them both.
Perfect. Yeah, and both at nice prices as well, then around that sort of 9 to 1 marker at this stage for the pair of them. So Mr. Wagyu from When the Dealing's Done as the biggest danger for Andrew. Now, Daryl, I know you've got a confident selection in this, so take it away, please.
Wow, yeah. I mean, as confident as you can be in a Stewards Cup, I guess.
Yes,
I've not had the best. I've not had the last 4 or 5 Saturdays. I've been really not firing, so I'm hoping it's going to turn around, and I'm hoping it's going to be with this one. One firm is offering 20 to 1. That's just hell to pack up now. The horse is Chill, top weight. Yeah. Rated 110. Harry Davis is claiming 5 off. So effectively, she's carrying 9 stone 7. She's done it before, and she's beaten the likes of Great Ambassador, off level weights, etc., very easily at Newmarket last year. Now, the key with this horse has always really been second time out after a break. So if you go back to last year, the second time that she won at Newcastle after about 56 days, but second time out went to Newmarket in the July Cup, was only beaten 4 lengths by Starman. Did quite well from well off the pace that day as well. Last season she ran in the behind Winter Power in the Nunthorpe. She wasn't beaten far, beaten 2 lengths there in that Group 1. And then she rounded off her season with a 3rd in the Group 1 Sprint Cup, beaten 3/4 of a length by Emiratiana. She's returned in the Hackwood Stakes, right? And she's been beaten 3 lengths by Minzao. And she was staying on at the finish. I thought it was a cracking seasonal return after 300 days off the track. And if you go back and look at her record after similar types of layoffs like that, 198, 89 days, she finished second to Count Otto at Newmarket. Then she went out next time at Newmarket, second time up, and she absolutely bolted up, beating Lord Rapscallion, Great Ambassador, very, very easily. The year before, she had 300 days off. She went to Bath. She was beaten 2 lengths by Montegali. Then she went out next time at Ascot and absolutely bolted up second time out, albeit in a handicap for mark of 85. But you're just seeing my point. 70 days off, she won. So she can win off like a shorter break. But off those longer breaks, it's definitely second time out with her. And she is undoubtedly a group horse in a handicap, really, because she's been running 3 group runs at the back end of last season. The last time she was in a handicap, that was when she bolted up off 97 at Newmarket, recorded an RPR of 110. Now, with Harry's claim, she's effectively running off 105. So, not much higher at all, £8 higher. But she is very, very lightly raced. She's finished in the first 7 of her 14 starts. And considering she's occupying group company for most of her time, or most of her recent career, I think that's a remarkable achievement. I think she's going to have a race run to suit here. Her form ties in with quite a lot of these who are they are handicappers essentially, but she is undoubtedly a group horse. I can't see no other group horse in this field. I look at Great Ambassador, who she's already beaten, and I can see why he's third favourite, because he was on the wrong side of the track last year and people are upgrading his effort. But, he is a lot higher in the weights this time around. And he's worse off at the weights with Chill. So I don't quite understand the discrepancy between the prices between those two.
I like the fact that he was aimed at this race last year, but then they pulled him out on soft ground rather than risking on ground he clearly doesn't like.
Who, Chill?
Yeah,
exactly. Was aimed at this race last year when rated. Well, it was a similar round of 110, but went to the Numthorpe instead and finished 2 lengths off of Winter Power, who was at the time obviously was absolutely flying at York. I just back in a handicap. I just think it's not like everybody else is carrying such a light weight that she's weighed down. She's carrying 9.7. Like, it's pretty compressed, really, the weights in this. If you go through it, and those right towards the bottom of the weights have got no chance of beating a horse who's capable of being almost placed in the Group 1. So I just don't understand why she's such a big price at 16-1. This has obviously been a target. It's got a draw and stall 11. I think that would give them options. I just think this is, and I don't like being overconfident, especially in a big run of handicap, because it never normally goes well. So I'm trying to curb my enthusiasm all the time. But I've been around the shops earlier to take 16-1 about this horse, because I just think it's a massive price. I think.
Did you have to wear a disguise, Daryl?
Sorry?
Did you wear a disguise?
No, they normally welcome me and then just take the money.
I heard of one team of potter runners in London many years ago who used to dress up as builders and wear hard hats and visi vests and try to pass themselves off as just being, we've been given a tip for this horse kind of thing, and when in fact they were sticking on for Shrewdies.
Yeah, well, they said to me, they're going, this is an anti-post bet. So it's not a bloody anti-post bet at all. I said, the declarations for this morning, well, on our screen, it is anti-post. I said, well, you want to check it's not. They made sure it wasn't. Yeah, they made sure it wasn't. And they said 90 quid is all you're allowed. 90 quid is all you have without them putting it through to check it. I was like, what's this world coming to? £16 Ladbrokes offered me online.
I was just going to say, name and shame.
Yeah, £16 Ladbrokes offered me online, and then
don't know if you ever want to get a sponsor for this show again. Maybe
true.
Yeah, very true.
As long as they're not the sponsors that we want, name and shame.
Well, we'll beat that out for now. But
90 quid doesn't even get you a tank of petrol, does it? Or a day's
well, that's what I'm saying. I've got a good mind to send in the bill for the petrol, but I'm hoping Chill will win at the weekend, so it won't matter.
And no other money will matter then. Yeah, but who on earth was offering 20-1? Goodness me, like say 16s is going into 14s now for Chill, but even that is still a very, very fair price. And no, we love it when you're confident, Daryl. That's why we keep prodding you into it. So no, keep that going. And I'll come back to you for our final scheduled race now as well. This is a 3:55 from Goodwood. It's a 0-105 handicap, 4-3-year-olds over 7 furlongs. So Daryl, back to you, please, for our final race.
Yeah, this is a cracker. This is a cracker. There's a lot more to come from a few of these. Gaelic Wooderton won really well at Epsom, albeit he dropped in class, but the form was given a good boost by Marley Park next time out. Positive Impact, I was extremely impressed with his run. He had been on my radar actually from running behind Noble Anthem earlier in his career, and I didn't expect him to run as well as he did up against Jimi Hendrix, and coming back in trip, he could just be very, very difficult to peg back. He's got a draw and stall 10, so that's a slight concern. But Benoit de la Salle, who's one of the best claimers around at the moment. Well, there's two, isn't there? There's Harry Davies and Benoit de la Salle, who are just absolutely on fire, stealing a claim. He's going to get a good tune out of him. Spirit of Nuguru.
gone. He's gone.
Who's corpsing?
There you go.
Wasn't that a step song?
Yeah, this horse is progressive. Progressive for William Haggis, and he did have another one entered for this race, so he's chosen to put this horse in there. I was quite taken with the Haydock run. Again, though, the stride pattern, it's like a bit of a grabby stride pattern, and I don't know if it's going to be well suited by Goodwood. Lasser dude was on the wrong side of the track at Newmarket behind Jimi Hendrix. He's better than that. I wouldn't judge him on that run completely. And Koi's got a big chance. This is a wide open race, Kate. Sorry, I don't know who I like. In all honesty, I would probably give a chance to Positive Impact and hope that he can make all from a wide stall and stall 10, and Benoit can just be a little bit clever and box a little bit clever.
After all that, you go for the most boring named one of all of them.
It's the only one I can say.
Yeah, that's also true. After we went through Koi Lasudud and Spirit of Naguru, or Nagugu as is now being called, we've ended up on Positive Impact. So yeah, not quite the turn up I was expecting from you, Daryl, but for Benoit de la Salle, who's actually probably in recent news going to lose the apprentice title now, isn't he? Because of his being caught for non-trying the other day, so he's got a hefty ban then for that. Yep, on an Ishmael Mohammed horse the other day. I believe it was at Chelmsford. So see if he tries to appeal it or not. But it looks like it's handed it basically to Harry Davis for the apprentice title on that basis. But can ride though. He can ride. But yeah, we'll see how that goes in other news.
He can ride when he's not stopping horses or snorting it up his nose by the sound of it. But there you go.
You can't say that, Andrew.
Well, he's just been done for non-trying. He was done for cocaine last year.
Start putting a bloody
goodness sake.
They are two facts. But we're still
it's just so disappointing when you see someone talented like that they go down this route. Let's hope it's let's hope he's learned from this lesson like he didn't learn from the last one.
Yeah, continue to learn, Benoit, please, because you're very, very talented for all of our sakes. Andrew, are you siding with him or something else in this last race?
No, I quite like one in this race, which is Galiac for the William Muir and Chris Grasick yard. He's a bit of a keen sort, and he sometimes fails to settle when he races into small fields. He was well backed at Sandown last time when William Buick was on board at the 11-4 shot. He finished third of 7. Perhaps a little bit disappointing on the face of it, but you look at his runs in big fields. He's won the last 3 times. He's had a field of 10 or more runners. He's got 10 runners today. There's a few pace angles in here, so he should have the race run to suit. Hopefully he'll settle under David Probert. Nicely drawn in stall 2. I know we've got a smaller field than usual for this race, 10 runners instead of the sort of, sometimes 15 plus. I still want to be drawn low ideally, and he's already bounced back from a defeat to win next time in a bigger field this season. So Galiac for me.
Cool, around 10-1 from one of the prices I can see there, so not a bad price at all. And Andrew, back to you please for anything from anywhere else.
Not a chance to look yet, so that's no from me.
No problemo. Daryl?
I haven't had a chance to look. Kate.
No, we've had plenty of races to do, and you've also had a lot of days of glorious Goodwood, so very forgivable. Daryl, your naps then. That's all for me to get from the pair of you now. Your nap, please. Chill
in the Stewards Cup.
Oh, it's swinging for the fences. Right, like it a lot then. Chill in the Stewards Cup for Daryl. Andrew, do not take mine.
I was thinking of it, and then I thought, well, Mr. Wagyu is running, and I can't not nap Mr. Wagyu when Mr. Wagyu runs. So I'm going for
Mr. Napyu.
Mr. Napyu with the Spirit of a Google with a double. No, I'll go Mr. Wagyu.
Mr. Wagyu, of course, Andrew's biggest. Oh, he is the biggest fanboy of Mr. Wagyu. So thank God he's gone for that, because I'm going Lethal Levi, funnily enough, in the 140 at Goodwood. Right, we better go before we get cancelled. Thank you to the lads for all of their hard work, as per usual. It's been a wild one this weekend. Thank you for coming with us for the ride then this week. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck with your bets this week, and we will catch up with you again next week.